into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, I'm Rupha Ramani and welcome to the new year. Wishing you a happy 2024 and you're watching First Sports. Let's get started. Now the first day of the year is here. In fact, we promised you some very spicy stories on January 1st itself. Rafael Nadal is making a comeback. How will that pan out and what and who are his biggest challenges in a year that looks to be very, very difficult? Speaking of comebacks, the NFL or the National Football League was making a bit of a comeback thanks to Taylor Swift. You heard me right, but not without its fair share of blame games. Stick around to know more about that, and we tell you who are the sports persons you need to be watching out for in the year 2024. Who will make it big this year? But first, let's look at all the headlines from around the world in Sports 360. Australia women beat India by 3 runs in a nail-biter of an ODI match on the weekend. 50s from Phoebe Litchfield and Elise Perry helped Australia put up a target of 258 runs. Richa Ghosh led the fight for India but was dismissed just shy of a century at 96. She was the lone warrior. Australia have now taken an unassailable lead in the 3-match ODI series. The third one is to be played tomorrow. Australian opener David Warner has announced his retirement from one-day international cricket. Warner says that his final 50-over match was the World Cup against India, which Australia won. Later this month, the 37-year-old will also retire from Test cricket. However, Warner says he will continue to play T20 cricket for Australia and has kept his options open for the Champions Trophy in 2025. In football, Fulham beat Arsenal 2-1 in last night's Premier League match. Bukayo Saka scored in the 5th minute to give Arsenal an early lead. Then Fulham equalised in the 29th on a goal from Raul Jimenez. In the second half, Bobby Cordova-Reid scored the winning goal for Fulham. Portuguese forward Cristiano Ronaldo became the highest goal scorer for 2023. Ronaldo scored 54 goals for his club Al Nassr and for Portugal. He was trailed by England forward Harry Kane and French striker Kylian Mbappe, who both ended up on 52 goals. And in basketball, the Detroit Pistons beat the Toronto Raptors last night. A win finally then. The final score of the closely fought match was 129 to 127. The Pistons have now avoided setting a new record for the longest losing streak in NBA history. This season, the Pistons had lost 28 matches in a row, equaling the previous worst. Yes, it's the new year. Everyone is planning how they will do things differently. It's natural to have the mindset of new year, new me, as long as it lasts. Well, it's not just you. There's also new year, new Nadal. That's right, Rafael Nadal will be back on the court tomorrow. He will face a stiff challenge in Dominic Thiem in the first round at the Brisbane International ATP tournament. And it is a match that everyone has been waiting for. It's been almost a year since Nadal took to the courts. The Spaniard last played in the Australian Open in 2023. A major injury ruled him out for the year. Nadal has now recovered. Last week he was seen practicing before his return, but Rafa's journey hasn't been easy at all. He has lost out more to injuries than his opponents in his entire career. In his almost 22-year-long career, Nadal has been injured at least 12 times. He has always pushed through ligament tears and injuries, and over the years, the toll of these injuries has only compounded. As the 37-year-old makes his return, the pain from the injuries would definitely be running through in the back of his mind. Nadal is aware about the challenges his body will face on the court, but Nadal is a fighter. All these years, he has played through pain. He has mastered the approach of taking it one day at a time, then week by week, and of course, month on end. Nadal gave his body almost a year to recover before he was convinced that he's ready and fit to play. He's not thinking about winning at the moment. For him, a return to the court is a win in itself.
I am feeling good. I can't complain. I feel much better today than what I expected 1 month ago. So for me, it's impossible to think about winning tournaments today. But what's really possible is to enjoy the comeback to the course. No, I don't expect much. Honestly, the only thing that I expect is be able to go on court, to feel myself competitive and to give my best, and then it's going to be a tough process at the beginning. At the end, it's 1 year without being on the tennis courts, and it's not that I have been practicing in a very good intensity for the last 6 months. No, I just have been practicing for the last month in a very good intensity.
Nadal is trying his best to stretch out another year. The amount of injuries that he's had to suffer would have mentally defeated most players. But this is Rafael Nadal. He's carried on, but he knows that his time on the court is limited.
Know if my body will allow me to be competitive. I mean, not in a way to win the most important events, but the way that makes me happy, feel myself competitive to go on court and to feel that I can compete against anyone. No, doesn't matter at the end of the day if I win or not. But if I have that feelings, you never know what's my approach, because at the end I went through a lot to be back on a tennis court. So it's not an easy decision, but I know inside myself that it's a high percentage that's going to be my last one.
Well, it surely looks like this is the last time that Nadal will play in Australia, and his road at the Australian Open is going to be rocky. Brisbane International is, of course, just a warm-up, but his real test lies at the first Grand Slam of the year, exactly where he left his tennis 1 year ago, where Nadal will face higher-seeded opponents, most of them far younger than him. There's Davis Cup winner Yannick Sinner, then Nadal's compatriot Carlos Alcaraz, who's built as pretty much his the one who will continue in his place. He'll look to build on the recent exhibition win over Novak Djokovic. And of course, there will be Rafa's rival Novak himself on the courts. Djokovic has not slowed down even a bit. He looks in peak form and outperformed all of the younger talent last year. Nadal is going to be up against all of these players who are charging for the top spot. These are players who are energetic, feisty, and a reminder of how Rafael Nadal himself used to be when he first burst onto the scene decades ago. Nadal is aware of that. He realizes that his biggest challenge, though, is the battle with his body. It is the man who sits on the throne that he once occupied, and many other contenders to it, who will be a massive challenge that Rafa Nadal has to overcome. And this has concerned Rafa's camp. His coach, Carlos Moya, says that going from training to competitions are totally different. There's definitely a sense of nervousness regarding Nadal's return. I want to take you back briefly to his earlier days when he first came on and encountered the monster called Roger Federer. That Swiss legend was practically unbeatable back then, and Rafa found a way to beat him. He brought different strategies, working on creating that extra topspin to cramp Federer's single-handed backhand, and went that extra mile to beat him consistently. And then, of course, came Novak Djokovic, who had a very similar playing style to that of Nadal when he started. And somehow Rafael Nadal found a way around him too, by adding that extra dimension of net play to his game. He's always adapted to the changing times to continue being on top of the game, continue being on top of the sport, something that Novak Djokovic is now doing right and with superb execution. But this time it's different for Rafa. It's not going to be easy. A year has passed since he's played competitive tennis, and a lot has changed during that time. Superstars on the cusp of brilliance have taken center stage. Rafael Nadal has to find a way around all of them, and at a time when age is certainly not on his side, and nor is his body. Is a glorious run going to witness a mixed comeback of sorts? The king of clay court has given the sport some of the most glorious moments. It's great to see him back, even if we are prepared that it might only be for a short time. But the Nadal fan is extremely hopeful that he has once again drawn on his past and his skills and muscle memory to unleash yet another layer and level to the genius that a lot of us know him to be. Now moving on to a story that's a bit off the track. In fact, it's about a singer whose tracks have caused earthquakes and shook entire economies. You guessed it, I'm talking about Taylor Swift, a Grammy Award-winning artist, also a billionaire. Yes, it is still a sports show, so hold on just a bit. In the spirit of this festive season, let me ask you, if you were a billionaire, how would you have spent Christmas? Maybe on a yacht somewhere, holidaying at some luxurious locales maybe, but not Miss Americana. Taylor Swift spent hers in a drafty football stadium in Missouri, cheering for her partner Travis Kelce. He plays for the Kansas team. Kelce is the Kansas City Chiefs tight end. They were playing against the Las Vegas Raiders. She took her place in the usual glass suite, this time right beside Santa Claus. Everything was red, if you know what I mean, and the crowds loved it, but not for long. The Chiefs were expected to have a holiday triumph. Instead, they fell to the Raiders 14-20, and with that, the Chiefs also fell into a pattern. They have lost 3 out of their last 4 contests. They now hold a 10-6 record. There is a chatter that the Chiefs are no longer dominating opponents. Kelce didn't help matters either when he threw his helmet on the sidelines during the game. Clearly, frustration is building up and it's showing. And apparently now it is time to play another sport, a blame game. Angry fans are pointing to Taylor Swift, blaming the singer for the Chiefs' losses and her presence in a glass box far above the field, for allegedly causing the team to lose focus. To many, it may be as if silly to blame Swift as it would be to blame Santa, who happened to sit right next to her. At least, at the last time we checked, Taylor wasn't playing for the Chiefs, but that doesn't stop people from blaming her. Like Skip Bayless. Now, he's an American sports commentator. He claims that it's about time to call Taylor Swift a distraction. Meanwhile, Clay Travis, who's a COVID conspiracy theorist, may I add, accused Swift of Yoko Ono-ing the Chiefs. Now, Yoko Ono was John Lennon's wife. She was called by the Dragon Lady by masses and blamed for the Beatles' breakup. As you can tell, the blame game extends across generations, and Taylor Swift is only part of the norm, where partners are blamed when sportspersons lose. Jessica Simpson was blamed for Tony Romo's losses, so was Kim Kardashian for Miles Austin's. We see this in India too. Bollywood actress Anushka Sharma is married to star India cricketer Virat Kohli, who's also the former captain. So she is present during matches to cheer on for the team, and of course, he's her husband, much like everyone else in the stadium. But there was a phase when Anushka Sharma was constantly blamed for the Indian cricket team's losses. This was while Virat Kohli used to lead the side, one of the many factors that in fact aided in a change at the helm, eventually with Rohit Sharma taking over. She was called a bad omen time and time again. But coming back to Swift, many have come to her defense, like sports commentator Ellie Lawson. She said, "Do not blame Taylor Swift for being a distraction. Nobody's asking if Travis Kelce is distracting her from a world tour." Chiefs head coach Andy Reid also responded. He took full responsibility for the losses, and guess who he didn't mention? Yes, Taylor Swift. After all, the National Football League, or the NFL, has been electrified with the Swift effect. This season has been extraordinary, thanks to the superstar. Ever since she started attending the games, the effect has been immediate and noticeable. The day after the first time she attended a game, there was a 400% spike in sales of Kelce jerseys. Kelce gained 500,000 new followers on Instagram within a month. The network broadcasting NFL saw a bump in female viewership, an increase of 2 million viewers, and viewership among teen girls spiked by 53%. In fact, Taylor Swift helped the NFL enjoy the best Christmas Day viewership since 1989, which is coincidentally also the name of Swift's album. More than 29 million fans tuned in, a 29% increase from last year's Christmas match. So if anything, Taylor's presence has only helped NFL and the surround programming. Blaming the partner instead of appreciating their contributions is convenient, but it is rarely the reason for a loss, and it doesn't just reflect poorly on the partner, but also sends a dangerous message that a professional sports person is unable to handle their personal and professional life, that they are incapable of compartmentalizing, which couldn't be farther from reality, because even those who aren't sports fans know that sports persons are superhuman multitaskers. They brave the odds on a regular basis and face both highs and lows, irrespective of their romantic lives. So my point is simple. If you think Taylor Swift is the anti-hero behind the Chiefs' losses, you need to calm down. Pardon the pun. Now, there's a lot of sporting action heading your way into 2024. It's a bonanza year because it's not just the year of World Cups across disciplines, but also the Olympics year. It's special. You have Cricket World Cups lined up throughout the year, the Under-17 Football World Cup as well, the Paris Olympics, which is the biggest sporting extravaganza right in the middle of the year, the Grand Slams in tennis, and all these mega tournaments will, of course, give birth to superstars. Or it could be the breakthrough year for a few who are already showing some promise, and for some others, the year to finally take off. So who is poised to shine and make this a special year for them and us, the lovers of sport? We have you covered. Here is whom you definitely need to keep your eyes out for.
With cricket being a massive sport every year, let's start with our pick on the two cricketers who could make this year theirs. In men's cricket, we pick Shubman Gill to make this year his very own. He had a relatively quiet 2023, but with the captaincy of an IPL franchise now on his young shoulders and the promise of big things to come, this classy opener could own this year and make a stunning impact to India's fortunes. For the women, our pick is England's Nat Skyver. The all-rounder has been a core contributor in her country's fortunes. She played a stellar role with both the bat and the ball with the Mumbai Indians at the Women's Premier League. She has battled mental health challenges and is looking to take on 2024. And with the World Cup year that it is, she'll be raring to go. Next up on our scanner is gymnast Simone Biles. After fighting with psychological issues that kept her away from gymnastics for 2 years, Simone made a comeback 6 months ago, and what a comeback it's been. The Paris 2024 Olympics will be the main mission for Simone to rout all the events there. Over to football, we have to feature Real Madrid's golden boy Jude Bellingham. He made his debut in the Birmingham City under-23 team as a 15-year-old. Bellingham went on to become the youngest to make his debut for the senior Birmingham City side, and his rise has been constant. He's made a super start to his Real Madrid stint by scoring 12 goals in his first 14 La Liga matches. He's also matched the legendary Cristiano Ronaldo in scoring 4 goals in his first 3 La Liga games. Moving on to tennis. Could this be the year of Jannik Sinner? Something tells us he will be a hot contender for first Grand Slam this year. It's not going to be easy with Novak Djokovic hungry for more and Rafael Nadal making his comeback. But Sinner is riding on a 2023 where he beat some of the best in the world and did so consistently. He took Italy to their first Davis Cup win in 47 years, and the world number 4 has set his sights higher. From the Indian perspective, it's an Olympic year, and so there's quest for glory. There are a few candidates we think could bag an Olympic medal or have the potential to. PV Sindhu's comeback is the most anticipated. The rise of the Indians' docked duo of Sathik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty is sure to continue. Boxer Lavlina Borghese had a relatively quiet year, but she will be raring to silence critics. And then there's Saurabh Chaudhary in shooting. That's a mix of outliers and promising talents, apart from the predictable gold diggers like Neeraj Chopra. This rounds up our list on the sporting superstars who could rewrite history and make their mark in 2024.
The year's first Grand Slam, the Australian Open, is just 2 weeks away, and what better way to prepare for it than finding some downtime or trying your hand at another sport. World number 1 tennis player Iga Świątek put down her racket and picked up a surfboard instead. For our last serve today, here's Świątek and her compatriot Hubert Hurkacz out on the waters. Take a look. That does it here on Firstpost. Thanks so much for joining in. Hope you enjoyed our very first episode of 2024. Stay on and we'll of course catch you again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Take care. Bye-bye.